Yeah.
Hey everyone, here we are for the movie event we've all been waiting for this entire year and beyond. Of course, I'm talking about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, the sequel to the gigantically successful 2018 film Black Panther, once again directed by Ryan Coogler, starring Letitia, Wright, Lupita Nyong'o, Danai, Gurira, Winston, Tenoch, Huerta, Angela Bassett, Dominique Thorne, and many others. And look, I mean, this is really such an anticipated Marvel film because of the success of Black Panther and really how it broke out, black superheroes into the mainstream, which, I mean, it should have happened a much longer time ago, at least to the level of success that film attained. It became the first comic book movie to get a Best Picture nomination at the Academy Awards, and it was really a big deal, and I think probably the best Marvel movie from that year. I still think one of the absolute best Marvel movies of all time. The fact that Ryan Coogler inserted his own political ideology is something that's very real, something that's very raw, something that's very thought-provoking, heartfelt, and really made a political statement out of a Marvel movie. It had never been done before, and it certainly wouldn't have been the last time that it would happen in the way that it did. And obviously, another reason why a lot of people want to see this movie is, unfortunately, because of tragic circumstances. Because as you all know, Chadwick Boseman, the man who played T'Challa, who defined who Black Panther was, who defined what a strong black lead in cinema could be, tragically passed away in 2020 due to stage 4 colon cancer. And so really, it blindsided everybody in the cast and crew because no one knew he was sick. And obviously that's such a big role to fill that it's essentially unfillable. And Ryan Coogler had to go through a lot to really rewrite the script to not only fit into the Marvel Cinematic Universe and continue to tell this narrative, but also to make everything, all the characters, make sense within the context of this new story and the old story that he had written, and also pay tribute to his late great friend. Really such a tall order on the table for this man, as well as the cast and crew. I mean, they had big shoes to fill because, I mean, the void of Chadwick Boseman is certainly felt in the wake of his death and the death of King T'Challa in this movie. And really, I think, first off, I have to say, it is so beautifully done. And I think the thing that makes that so authentic is because it's like these people we are watching on screen who are portraying these somewhat larger-than-life characters are actually mourning the death of their king, so to speak. Everyone who knew Chadwick said he was like one of the brightest, one of the nicest, one of the most heartfelt people to ever walk in a room and just beyond caring. So he really meant a lot to so many people. And he's more than just a cultural icon, but indeed he's a cultural icon, might I even say a legend. I mean, this dude would have went to live on to be one of the all-time great actors. And even within his time on this earth, I think he achieved so much right up until his last performance in Ma Rainey's Black Panther. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about this movie, and I just love the way this film kicks off. Like, they don't waste any time going on about T'Challa's death. Obviously, this is going to be a spoiler-free review, but I think that this is something that has to be noted right from the top. Is it basically opens with T'Challa's death, and I think the way they handle it is quite compelling, and I think felt very right considering the circumstances of everything that had gone down, and just so beautiful. They really make everything just so filled to the brim with life and celebration and just sheer poignancy, and just in this man's death, it is just so meaningful and so impactful. But that's not to knock the rest of the film, because what is so impressive about this movie is how Ryan Coogler once again is able to pull out all these ideas that are just rolling around in his head and really make some very fine-tuned political statements when it comes to geopolitical issues, and of course just how conflicts can arise and the palpable tension of those conflicts rising, sort of similar to what we may be seeing happening now, though probably, unfortunately in our case, on a much larger scale. And so many ideas he's portraying, like being the conflict between tradition and science. I mean, there's so much to chew on here, and for these characters to chew on, and for these actors to really sink their teeth into. It really does push these characters forward in a new and interesting direction, given the grief that they are feeling in the wake of T'Challa's death. And as it goes for the cast, I mean, everybody is just absolutely stellar here. I think a lot of these actors even better than in the original. Like Danai Gurira gets a lot more to do here. I think Lupita Nyong'o gets a little less to do, but when she's on screen, man, is her performance impactful. And I think some of the best moments in the film revolve around Nakia. And I think you just wait and see it, and you'll see what I mean. Winston Duke, once again, is really great in the scenes that he's in. But to me, I think the two standouts from the cast prior are certainly Letitia Wright, who, this is basically her movie. It's all riding on her shoulders. And she brings so much depth and rich emotional conflict to this film. Like I was saying with Spider-Man No Way Home, we don't get a lot of that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I think the conversations here are legitimately compelling and very thoughtful, very mature. Not like the last movie where they're like, what are those? You know, you're getting all this like garbage humor. And granted, those moments are few and far between, because as I said, that's one of my favorites, but I think Black Panther could have been even better if it weren't for that and the kind of messy, or at least visually speaking, the third act. But I think the attention and nuance Letitia Wright gives to these ideas in the movie and her character really make this another essential film in the Marvel canon, and certainly in the story of Black Panther. I mean, there's no Marvel movie like this. This is one of the most mature in their entire cinematic universe. But really, I think the real standout here is Angela Bassett. My goodness, what a legend. And literally every second she's on screen, because she's not in the movie as much as you'd hope, but man, does she make an impact. And honestly, if she got nominated for Best Supporting Actress at the Oscars, I don't think that would be a problem at all. There's a chance that maybe she could be the first actor in an MCU film to get nominated for an acting Oscar. Certainly plausible. Just the amount of grief that her character is going through, the weight that's placed upon her shoulders as the queen of Wakanda. So much going on there. And of course the dynamic between her and Letitia Wright is always phenomenal from start to finish. And of course I have to talk about Tenoch Huerta as Namor, who's obviously the villain they've been setting up since Endgame. And he is really, really great in this movie. I mean, he has such a charismatic presence. As soon as he gets on screen, he commands every second that he's on there. And I think just really a very solid villain from front to back. Not the best in the MCU, but I certainly think he could be in the top 10 if we really had to narrow it down. Because look, I mean, he's not going to be Killmonger. I think Killmonger, I'd even put him above Thanos as the best villain in the MCU. Just because of how heartbreaking his character was. You understood his pain, you understood where that trauma was coming from and why he wanted to enact revenge on the world. I don't think that it is as clear when it comes to this character, but you understand a lot of his motivations and why he's in the situation that he's in. And I think it really is a compelling narrative point nonetheless. And of course, I mean, we got to talk about Dominique Thorne, because of obviously they're introducing Riri Williams. aka Ironheart, and she's really fun in the movie. I think probably the most levity comes from her character, but then again, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, she's in the movie and that's cool, but I don't think, besides maybe one or two moments, that she really adds anything. It just felt like they had to have her there to have her there. Same thing with Martin Freeman coming back as Everett Ross. I don't think that his subplot really had to be in the movie at all. I mean, you kind of get the ball rolling in a few areas, but I don't think that he necessarily had enough to do in the movie, and I think the narrative got a little jumbled up and a little unfocused when it came to that. But I think where this narrative really hones in on, especially the story of everybody in Wakanda, all these characters we've grown to know and love, especially Shuri's story, is really where this film excels and, succeeds with flying colors. I'm not saying that this is a perfect Marvel movie, but I certainly think it's up there as being one of their best. I absolutely love this film, and I'll tell you, if you get through the first, I guess the entire movie without crying, just wait. They've got something for you. And my goodness, by the end of this movie, I was just in tears. I couldn't help myself. This really, yet again, is such a beautiful tribute to someone who just meant so much to so many people, and who's legitimately a great human being and a terrific actor and a cultural icon. I mean, there's so many things you could say about Chadwick Boseman that I really can't even put into words. I mean, he was just a tremendous talent that left this earth way too soon. And this movie is a testament to him and, of course, Ryan Coogler and the crew for being able to pull something together out of the depths of this depravity. Because I was really worried about this movie, obviously, with, all the setbacks and then, obviously, the COVID stuff that was going on. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But really, when it came down to it, I think that this film excels on a lot of levels, and I think that this is a fantastic movie, and quite frankly, one of the best movies of the year. So I'm going to give Black Panther Wakanda Forever an 8.5 out of 10. Please don't miss this one. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'll wait for it to come on streaming. But please, just for what this cast and crew accomplished, given the circumstances that they were dealt with, and just out of respect for the late, great Chadwick Boseman, you should absolutely check this one out. So what did you guys think of Black Panther Wakanda Forever? Drop your comments down below and tell me if you agree with me or if you don't think it's good. I don't know. I think people are kind of split on this one, and I'm not really sure why. Yeah, as I said, it's not perfect, but that doesn't mean that it's not great. And of course, I am going to do a spoiler review on this one because I don't know how I cannot talk about this movie. There is so much to chew on here, and I think I really need some more ample time to get into why I love this movie. And yeah, guys, so please, if you like what I'm doing here, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, especially if you want to see the spoiler review for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And of course, we're continuing on with the top 90 albums of the 90s. That just got started, so make sure to check out the first video if you haven't seen it already and want to continue on with the series. And yeah, guys, once again, thank you for tuning into this video. And just one thing I have to say, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. You've been missed. We love you. And this one's for you. Thank you.